Welcome again. It's Reverend Andrew Blake here from Serenity Institute. And glad you can join us for this third in a series of inner resources or skills for caregivers. In this third one, I'd like to explore the roots of compassion. Compassion is a very big topic in our professional and volunteer training program. And there are many skills that flow out of the development of a heartfelt compassion. But I think it's also important to see the importance and significance of the development of compassion. We'll often say we're compassionate without necessarily understanding what it means. The Dalai Lama once said that compassion is a necessity, not a luxury, and that without it, humanity cannot survive. That it's an essential ingredient in how we can sustain our world and also sustain ourselves. One of my close mentors, Joan Halifax Roshi, said that compassion is made up of the non-compassion elements, meaning that there's many skills actually that we're developing through the expression of compassion. So I'd like to explore in this video more of the movement of compassion towards another, and the second video, the more challenging aspect actually in our culture of offering and giving compassion towards ourselves. Paul Gilbert, a psychologist who works and written many books on compassion, talks about two skills that we're developing. And this is also congruent with how Buddhism looks at and expresses compassion. So the first act is the giving aspect. It's the loving part of compassion. And it comes from our ability to extend ourselves, extending our caring and our warmth and our concern for another person, and offering and opening ourselves to them. And the other aspect, the feeling with the compassion, is to actually be with that suffering, but not just be with the suffering of another, but also understand it, to deeply travel into that inner experience, to understand all of the causes. There could be intergenerational, family, work, social, spiritual, many, many different causes that may be what's bringing about or originating the suffering of another person. So when we think about these qualities of compassion, we can think of it as a turning towards the suffering. And in our earlier video, we looked at the skills of grounding and pausing and then healthy empathy, knowing that as we feel with another person, we are starting to feel deeply their experience. So with compassion, it's a deeper form of grounding in our capacity to hold our heart open, knowing that we can't fix or solve the suffering of another. Or as Rachel Remen, the physician and the developer of the Commonweal program, talks about, that we're there to serve the other, but not to make their situation better. While the result may be that we make their situation better, we're there to truly be there for the other person. So with compassion of being with the other, what I want to explore is this quality that we're developing in the process of knowing deeper compassion, that there's many skills. And so we're going to begin with the feeling and noticing what it's like to feel our compassion towards another. So with each of our videos, we'll do a short practice, a contemplation. So I'm going to invite you now just to shift again into a comfortable posture for this next exercise. And as you do it again, you take a few moments to ground yourself and just to pause. And in that pausing, just to notice your breath for a moment. Settle the body, relax down into your feet, down to your toes, the soles of your feet. Settle and ground yourself into the cushion or the chair beneath you, on whatever you're seated upon. Take a moment to take a breath in. You can extend your spine a little bit, relax your shoulders, and really come home to the present moment. Taking a few breaths here, let yourself settle into the present moment. There may be distractions in you, internally or externally. So just notice that and see if you can continue to ground yourself in spite of whatever may be happening around you. We think of compassion as being centered in the heart, in the human heart. Compassion is this quality of warmth, of caring, but it's also our ability to stay present, even in the face of suffering, to not turn away. But here we're not judging ourselves as we explore compassion, but merely opening and being curious about what happens as we invite ourselves to open to compassion. What I'd like you to do is to just imagine that you can see in front of you someone that you have a great deal of warmth, affection, and connection with, a sense of loving bond with. It could be a child, partner, a close friend. And as you reflect on them, feel from your heart and extend your sense of caring towards them. Allow yourself to feel your deep appreciation for them and your caring for them. Touch into that sense of love and warmth that we feel. You could also imagine it with a pet. Just anyone that you have a real warm connection with. And allow yourself to feel that sense of warmth and connection that we feel. We can even feel it as heat. When we touch into compassion, compassion is about our deep caring. Feel for a moment, even mentally, saying, I care for you. And how that caring is about our deep wish for them to be happy, to be safe, to be well. Just feel that for a moment, again, as you say the phrase, I care for you. And again, notice how that feels in the body, staying grounded and present here. Now, for another moment, I want you to reflect on a moment when they were in some distress. And as you recall from our second video, we touch into empathy now as one of the components of compassion. So as you imagine a moment when they were in some distress, empathy is the breathing in and being aware of what that distress might feel like. So as you land on a moment, just sense into what's being felt in this moment. What's the nature of their distress? What's happening that may be causing this distress in this moment? And again, stay with your breath and notice what happens in your body. This is the empathy part, just to notice how it is to feel with them and to notice what happens when we're feeling with another suffering. But what I want you to focus in is on your next exhalation to just send the phrase, I wish you to be free of this suffering. Again, just feeling that compassion is the wish to feel that as you exhale, the wish that I wish you be freed of this suffering. And I wish I could do whatever I can, if I can, to help alleviate it. And just feel that wish that you may have even in that situation offered them support or kindness or listening, or even some advice. So compassion is an active process. Just feel that one more moment, my wish to relieve it, for them to be free of any suffering. So in our lives, as we're practicing and developing the skill of compassion, remember that compassion is an action. It must be embodied in some way. And so we're developing this capacity through mindful awareness, through healthy empathy, through grounding and present, to be able to be with the suffering of others and extending it in a way that it's not draining us from unhealthy empathy, but that we're developing greater presence and greater ability to be present to ourselves and to others. So I look forward to seeing you again in our next video as we explore self-compassion. Thank you very much for your presence here, and be well.